Today we are talking with Mariana. I just call her the brand video queen. We're going to go into what brand videos are, but let's do a quick intro for the podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to the Life and Business Podcast. This is where we share stories and strategies to help you live life well by doing business better, counterculturally, without having to sacrifice the things that matter most to you. And so, Mariana's also a mom. And so, I love the work that she's doing, not just like her skills, experience, and expertise, but also the way she's living out her life and building her business from a place of like belief and value in what she's offering into the world and not really succumbing to what culture just wants her to do. So I really love that piece and I want to dive into that. Mariana is a former Emmy-winning filmmaker and founder of brandmagnetic.com. Her Emmy-winning work has been featured on the homepage of the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Inc., Time, and the Today Show. And she's worked with so many brands like Microsoft, Hulu, Wells Fargo, and HP. Now she focuses on helping coaches and online business owners stand out, build trust faster, and accelerate the sales with a brand video. So, welcome to the show, Mariana. I feel like we've
Hey,
been wanting to do this for so long. I'm so excited to have you on. How are you doing today?
great, Sue. I mean, I love our connection. I love that we've gotten to work together. I love how we met. And I'm so excited to chat about brand videos in general, about your brand video and how it's been going since you published. So, super stoked that we're doing this.
Yes. Okay. So, the first question I have for you, and probably for the entire audience, is what is a brand video?
So, a brand video is basically a 2 to 3 minute video that shares your story in a way that accelerates trust with your audience and ultimately shortens your sales cycle. Because when people trust you faster, they also are buying faster. They're ready to commit to working with you because they've gotten to know you right away.
Yeah. And I have a question about trust, but I wanted to ask you, what is the difference? Because I have seen some, what people would say brand videos, where it's kind of sharing like the company story of like, oh,
Yes.
we started in
Yeah.
like 1981. And then, 5 years later, we were like in debt, we were going to go, whatever. So they're kind of telling that kind of story of like the founder's background and things like that. Do you feel like that's the same thing as the brand video that you're helping clients with?
It's not. So I think that most people kind of throw spaghetti at the wall when it comes to sharing their own story. We typically talk about origin story, which is like, why did I start
Mhm.
this business? Why am I doing this? And while that might be important and interesting to somebody who already knows you, if they don't already know you and if you don't really know how to tell that story, it can land pretty flat and it likely won't have the impact that it could have. And so I focus on what I call the brand story, which is how to understand what story you can tell about yourself and how to tell it to really move the needle for your audience. And what that means is that you're not starting with what is most important to me or what really, made me who I am. You're thinking about what does trust feel like for my audience and how can I get there by using my story?
Okay, that's great. I want you guys to just kind of listen to those two words, your brand story and then also your origin story. I feel like that finally clicked for me because I had somebody watch my brand video before I launched it, and her company helps other businesses do their origin story. And she was like, oh, you kind of need to get to the point faster. And I was like, I don't think that's the point of the brand video, because just like her experience was so different. And now I realize, oh, her work is telling the origin story. And now I think about it, I'm like, yes, people really only want to hear the origin story after you've already built that trust, right? It's like
Exactly.
people
Yeah.
want to know where you were born in your childhood after they kind of already know how you can help them or if like they like you, right? So
Once you've built that friendship, once you've established that you are an expert through your story, not just by, pointing to your accolades or pointing to your testimonials and all of that, like there's a layer of expertise in there, but you really want to position yourself in a very specific way that is, yes, a friend, but more of an expert who's a friend who can really get you help. And after you've built that relationship of trust, then you can sprinkle in, I happen to be Brazilian, you have a background as, we all have like these little tidbits that are interesting about us, but are not necessarily the thing we should be leading with to actually move the needle in our business.
Yes. Okay. That's so good. So when you say that and building and adding in trust, right? So what we lead with and building trust, what do you feel like is the number one thing that stops people from leading with the right things to actually build trust in their business?
I think from a storytelling perspective, it's just kind of getting confused with what we think is important versus what our audience needs to hear. And because we're so used to kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall, not really being clear and intentional about how we talk about ourselves, there are a lot of people who just straight up don't talk about themselves and they miss the opportunity of creating connection in that way. And then other folks who talk about themselves maybe again don't know exactly what to say or maybe have a really long-winded story. So it's really not understanding which parts of that story are going to make the biggest connection first and foremost. I think that would be the biggest mistake. Like what's important to me is not necessarily important to your audience. What made me who I am is not necessarily the thing that's going to get people to trust me.
Okay. I'm thinking about just my experience having worked with you with my brand video. I'm like 100% that's right. I feel like I have like 50 different stories. I'm like, oh, I could tell them all these stories, but half of them have no like correlation to building trust at all. It's just like, oh, that's just who I was and that's what I went through, but it does
Yeah,
not resonate with anybody.
that's absolutely
So,
right. And to your point, you might have 20 or 10 of those stories that could build trust, but which one is going to move the needle the most for
mhm.
your specific person? So that is the entire base of the work that we did together, which was like looking at all of these stories, which one taking my audience into consideration, how they feel, what are their fears and their desires, their aspirations, the things that they need to understand and truly feel in their gut about you the moment that they meet you in order to trust you. So, which story is going to get them there the fastest?
Yes, that's so good. And so funny. The other day we were just talking about sales and how to convert people in sales with stories. And I feel like once we figure out those stories that help them overcome the limiting beliefs that are stopping them from
Yeah.
taking action and improving their life, that's so helpful. Like that's selling from a place of service, really wanting to help them.
Yeah.
Um, Something that I'm thinking about when it comes to writing stories. I'd love to ask you a question to help people kind of begin to think about this themselves. What would you say is like just step number one if somebody wants to begin to start figuring out their brand story?
Yeah. The first thing is marketing 101. You should know who your audience is very clearly, as specifically as possible. Don't try to talk to everybody because you'll talk to no one. So, understanding them better than they understand themselves, really getting deeper and deeper and deeper. Like I talk about this in the program all the time in the Brand Video Accelerator. I really like push you guys to, you need to know this person way deeper. Let's ask deeper questions. Let's get to what's keeping them up at night, what are their true gut feelings. And if you don't have clarity on who you're speaking with first and foremost, you're never going to get there. You're just going to stay surface level, and then your brand video is probably just going to be a video that's there, that's nice, that maybe kind of connects a little bit but doesn't actually like move the needle in a deeply profound way. And so having that clarity, that depthness that you really only get from talking to your people. We use AI tools now to help students in the program. I use AI tools with my brand video clients, and that's great. They get us to a certain point. They help us think about, or maybe we kind of see what hits the most. But that human component of what is going way below surface level, those are the nuggets that we start with in order to backtrack from there and look at our stories in that light through that. That is the end point, right? We want to hit those feelings, and move them from that place of fear, of desires, to a place of trust. We understand you so well. We get you. So the four trust triggers that I'm now incorporating. I think when you went through
Mhm,
the program, I hadn't been talking about those,
mhm,
but now they're kind of the pillar of the program. Are your brand video needs to hit the four trust triggers. The first one is your audience needs to feel that you get them deeply. Your audience needs to feel that you care about them deeply. And that one is so important nowadays with
mhm.
more and more people getting burned in the online space, more and more people, unfortunately, investing in programs and coaches that are just not delivering. There are more and more of them out there. So, anyway, the fact that you care about them way beyond a number in your stripes screenshot, right, that you might share on social media. That needs to be there. That's part of the trust. The third part of the trust, or the third trust trigger, is that you they need to feel like you've got them. They need to feel that you are truly the expert that's going to, you've done this before, you've got them. They are in good hands. There's a component of relief there when they find you. And the
Yeah.
last one is that you need to vibe. You need to have a good personality fit. You need to be like, I like Sue. I actually want to work with Sue because not only do we connect on values, not only do I feel like she gets me, not only do I feel like she's actually going to care about me and care about getting me results, not only do I know that she's done this before and she knows what she's doing, but I actually enjoy spending time with her. So it's that fourth component of the personality fit between us that needs to be there as well.
I think that that is huge. I think about those 4 points and I'm running through my head like every sales conversation I have. And I'm like, yes, everybody who has ever said yes, I can tell that they're
Yeah.
like, oh, they actually like me enough to come on the call
Yes.
and they like me enough. Right. And then on the call, they actually believe in my expertise and that I can actually help them. And they really care, feel like, oh, she actually cares about me. And it's not about the
Yeah.
number. Because on my consultations at the very beginning, I'm like, it is not my job to make you say yes or no. It's my job to give you the information so you can decide. So they really feel like, oh, I care about them.
Respectful.
And
Yeah.
then they hear that, oh, she gets me, she gets my problem, and she gets a solution. And she also understands how I want to get her there. And so the reason why I bring that up is because I feel like at the end of every single consultation, it's like the last 5 minutes, they share something like they finally get to the point where they want to share something super deep. And then I say something that is literally just from my brand video. And in that instant, they're just like, yes, I'm sold. And for me, I'm like, we could have saved 60 minutes if I just sent you my brand video. And I feel like that happened once I created the brand video. I feel like that happened with like the last 3 or 4 clients. And I'm just like, man, I can't wait until the brand video goes live because I was like working on it. And then, so yeah, it went live and I was like, this is it. You know, it's going to just help people so that when they come on the phone, they're already saying yes to themselves and they're just kind of getting logistical answers. And
Yeah.
I feel like when I launched, I had been talking and I shared this with you. I was talking to somebody over Facebook Messenger and about booking a consultation. They just had never taken action and it was like 2 weeks that they didn't take action. And then I launched the video at like 5 o'clock, and then I saw they had booked a consultation at like 9 o'clock at night. So I was like, it had to have been the brand video. I didn't post anything different. I didn't message them. I didn't reach out to them. So I mean, I was like, they must have just watched the video and been like, all right, cool. Like I'm ready now. And so I feel like that's just the beginning of seeing like how you can really collapse the time in which
Yeah.
people gain your trust. I think that in the whole social media world, they're always like, yeah, people need to see like 7 hours of your content, right? Or you need to have like 50 touch points before somebody says yes. And I feel like the conversations I've had where I can literally have a complete stranger see one post on Facebook and then they turn into like a painful client in 36 hours. I'm like, if
Yeah.
I could do that in 36 hours, how much faster would it be with the brand video? Right. I'm like,
Absolutely.
right.
Yeah,
They could just
we're
go
in the
to the
business of
checkout.
collapsing time for sure.
Yes. And that also is not just about collapsing time with sales, right? It's collapsing time in which your clients get results. Because the
Mm.
faster they say yes to themselves, the
Mm-hmm.
faster they can do the work and the faster they can change their life, change their marriage, change their health, whatever it is that you're helping them with. And so I want to talk about the brand video accelerator. What do you feel like is the your number one reason why you are so just I feel like dedicated and really passionate about helping people get their brand video and their brand story out there?
So I want to ask you a question real quick. Like, do you feel like you're asking this question in this way because you experienced that through the program? Because you're not you're not just you're not obviously somebody who hasn't gone through it. You actually gone through it, but
Yeah.
do you feel like you felt that from your end? It's so hard to like
Yeah, like,
I
you mean
do
like your
express
passion
that,
and
and I'm
dedication?
curious how you felt that on your end.
Like your passion and dedication? Yeah, absolutely. Just knowing you like outside of the brand video accelerator and then also inside, like you can just tell that you're not just going to take fast cash for content creation, like other video things that you could do. It's like you're like, no, I've been called to this one thing to help people tell their stories because it's not just about me making another dollar with helping people with video stuff. It's like, no, I really believe that if people, and at least this is what I'm seeing, what I'm feeling from you is that like you really believe that if you can just help people get their brand video story out there, they can get more clients and then those clients' lives will be changed. So it's not about all the transfers of money, but it's all the transfers of transformation that is happening,
Yeah.
that ripple effect. And
Wow.
then I just feel like your passion with helping people tell their stories. I mean, that's kind of your experience with being, an Emmy-winning filmmaker. Is like you want to tell people's stories, right? You're passionate about getting their stories out there, and then translating that to the dedication piece. I just feel like you have been so dedicated to getting this message out there that a brand story is just completely different from your origin story. It's different from putting out social media content. It's different from putting out podcasts that
Mm.
you have to do consistently for like months and years for people to like trust you. It's like, no, you could collapse that trust time. I think I saw an email or something from you where you're like, you had to go to all these different countries, all these little like, I don't know, I can't think of the word, like just like isolated places where you had to gain people's trust, right? Those native people in all those different countries and cities and isolated places, you had to gain their trust like as fast as possible so
Yeah.
you could capture
Yeah.
the films, right? So you could capture their story. And it's like, you already have the expertise here. And so I feel like the dedication that you had there is just now translated to all of the coaches and all of the online business owners. So anyway, I don't know if that was the answer to your question, but I definitely feel it. I experienced it. And I think the reason why I'm asking this question is um, just so that other people can kind of hear your background and why you're
Yeah.
so passionate about this and why you're so dedicated to this. So they also understand the why behind a brand video. And then I want to talk about people's brand videos and the brand video accelerator too.
For sure. I think I'm uniquely dedicated to this mission because I'm building the business myself as well. Um, but even aside from this, so I'm building the business myself. I feel in my gut how hard it is to make your mark, to really stand out, to be heard above the noise, to break through, to get in the right rooms, to have all the pieces in place. And to be honest, like I'm describing sort of newer entrepreneur struggles, but everyone has that struggle at some point, right? Because you always have cold audiences that don't know who you are, that are coming to you for the first time. There you might have a bigger audience, so percentage of warm leads are higher, but at the end of the day, you're not growing your business unless you're bringing new people in. And the moment you bring new people in, you are at the same level competing for their attention, competing for their trust. And so having felt that pain point myself, seeing, to your point, all of these really talented people who, luckily, I was just telling my husband the other day, I am so blessed that I've only attracted people who truly care about their people. I've never had, I don't want to cuss in your show, but I've never had somebody who's not great, right? Who doesn't have a great heart and a good personality and goodwill towards their clients and really wanting the best for them. The second trust trigger, like truly caring about them. And so, luckily for me, I've been able to serve those people best because our values align. And my passion is in knowing how hard it is for them to get out there and for them to be seen, for them wearing all the hats in their business already, or maybe they have a small team. They're not always, you know, able to post 3 times a day on social media. The algorithm isn't always working in their favors. They're not always figuring out the best hook that will get their videos seen by most people. And so it's all of these shackles that we have to deal with as entrepreneurs in order to hopefully one day get to the other side of actually serving somebody, right? Or obviously we're doing that already if we have running businesses, but new clients that need to come in, new clients that need to um, get to that trust tipping point that usually takes 6 to 12 months over social media. And we know that, getting on a sales call, so many folks that I speak to who are either alums of the Brand Video Accelerator or are interested in the program, they are like, once I get on a call, Mariana, like people get it, there's a connection, I close them, my close rates are really high, but it's that scalability factor. You cannot get on a phone call or a Zoom call with every single person who wants to know about you. And even between the time that they meet you to when they're actually even willing to book the call, right? And so the idea is taking the magic that happens on that call and bringing it to the front of the funnel, bringing it to this 2 to 3 minute video that is watched in their own privacy, It lives top of funnel, so pinned on your social media profile, on your signature, it's on your about me page, your homepage. If you're the face of your brand, you're kind of hitting them in all of these points. There's the welcome sequence, that's where your brand video should live as well. And so everyone who comes into your universe watches that brand video, feels that connection, and immediately you create real estate in their minds. That's just what the brand video is doing. It's opening up space in their minds and in their hearts with Sue, the shape of Sue, right? Or whoever, whoever you are, that is the shape that's now in their brain space, in their hearts, so that every time you do show up, there's a lot more impact. There's a lot more connection. We pay attention, right? We're just like, if your friend posts something versus a complete stranger posts something, you're paying a lot more attention to the person that you know. And so, and ideally you like them as well, right? So it's accelerating know and like so that you can get to trust so much faster.
Yeah, that's so good. I like that accelerating. Um, in a minute, I want to talk about the brand video accelerator, but I'm thinking about um, you said that where the brand video should live, and I'm thinking now about how to create a brand video. What do you feel like are the few steps to actually executing a brand video?
Well, once you create your script, that's kind of the first milestone of the brand video. And I'm super excited about the next cohort of the brand video accelerator because we have an entire AI team of bots that are now helping students to get to that point so much faster. It's been taught on all of these different brand video scripts that I've created myself or that I've done for clients. And so getting to that script based on that reverse engineer process that I described, right? When you're finding the intersection of what your audience needs to feel and your lived experiences, and that's going to dictate your script. Um, Once we have your script, what we need to think about are what are the emotional visuals that we're going to use. I don't like to call it B-roll because we're not just filling space with video. We're really thinking about how do we move the needle in their hearts, in their minds as they're watching this piece of video. So I can go into like the neuroscience aspect of it, which I love, and I nerd out on so much. But basically, what we're doing is something called narrative transportation, where somebody's watching this video and they're not thinking about how much is this program going to cost. They're not thinking about, do I have the time for this program? Do I have the money for this program? What are they going to sell me? Right? We're not thinking about that. All the things that a more savvy buyer, when they're watching a marketing video, these are all thoughts that are happening in their subconscious. We're speaking to people as humans. All we're focusing on is the human connection. There's no clear call to action at the end, and that is very intentional. All we want to do is like, hey, this is who I am. This is my personality, my values, my mission, my drive. This is why I do what I do. And then it's up to that person, like they're going to feel that connection. Obviously, if they don't feel the connection, it's not a great fit, and that's awesome too, right? You're repelling the folks that are not for you, and that's great for both of you. But the folks that are for you are going to feel that right away. And so we do that with emotional visuals as well. We have brand new bots that are helping create the shot list as well, where we're not having to think from scratch. I have you've seen these assets because you were in the program, but I have a list of all of these ideas for creative visuals. But now we have the bots that are trained on that as well. And so once you've filmed the visuals, and I teach you how to do this very simply on your phone, I've distilled so much filmmaking knowledge that I have into very, very simple. Here are the angles that you need. Here are the shots that you need. Boom, boom, boom. I have a bot now that takes your brand video or your shot ideas and tells you like which angles to shoot. And so once that's done, you just have to edit it. And I teach you how to do that pretty simply as well. We use CapCut. And there's even more resources as well in terms of like how to just follow this template, right? Like this is how you can edit each of the scenes and you're done. And then I also, getting more nitty gritty into the program, we have the VIP track where you can hand that off. If you don't feel like this is your zone of genius, or that you don't want to learn video editing right now, you have other things you want to work on, you can just choose the VIP track and we will edit for you. So my team of editors that works on our really high end brand videos will just take your footage and create the magic for you.
That's so good. I was gonna say in all of that, like just like the few steps that are required, I feel like one question that people might have is like, what if I don't know how to record things, right? Record
Yeah,
and edit. I feel like that's a big hurdle for people. And then two, how much time is it gonna take? What is your response for that? For anybody who's like, oh, I want to create a brand video, but
for sure.
I don't know how to edit.
So I say it's not the longest thing you'll work on for sure, but it's also not the shortest thing you'll work on. There's a reason why this is not a McDonald's meal. This is like a chef curated meal that's actually going to be very memorable. That's always, the amount of time that you spend on it will reflect on the impact that your brand video will have. And so if you are looking for something that is a quick thing, that is, a can I follow this template and just post this, slap this on Instagram and go about my business? That's not, you can certainly do that, but I don't promise you it's actually going to convert anyone. I think there's a lot of misconception about what it takes to do something really, really great because it's easier to sell something that you can do in 30 minutes. And I get it. We're all pressed for time. But the idea with a brand video is that it's one asset that you're going to work on that will last forever in your business. So, you've heard me joke about this as unless you change your hair color permanently or that you change your niche, right? If you're serving a different audience, your brand video might not be as effective. And so, if you are sticking to the same audience, you can change your offers any day, but you're speaking to the same audience. Your brand video is going to be the forever asset that's working in your business 24/7 in all of the places. So, while you sleep, people are connecting with you. While you're not on Zoom, people are connecting with you. While you're not showing up on social media every day, people are connecting with you. And so the time commitment, it depends on how much you're able to invest every week. I recommend about 3 to 4 hours a week for your brand video during the duration of the program. Some folks get it done in less time, some folks take a bit more time. But what I'm working on, what I'm really passionate about is how do I make it easier for you? And the bots are really helping with that. I'm so excited about the next cohort. I'm offering, there's folks that are coming in already, they're getting additional bonuses that not only will the bots do it for them, but you're going to have my curated view on your scripts. You're going to have my massaging your script personally, so just some added things that essentially, I hopefully you felt this, Sue, when you were in the program. If you put in the work, I am right there with you. I am like supporting you and making sure you have everything you need so that you can have your questions answered, get it done. Like I doubled. And in fact, not to make this a super long answer, but I feel like from a business perspective, it's a program that I probably won't be offering very much longer, but ultimately, I would probably pivot to the My Done For You brand videos, which I have kind of ongoing. But 2026 is looking like you'll be more focused on those than the accelerator. So we'll see.
Yeah. So I think that tells me and tells everybody in the audience that if you want to have your brand video, then you need to join the Brand Video Accelerator now. So with that, I want to ask, when are doors open, closed for this round?
So we're opening doors on the 22nd. I've got conversations going with folks. I don't like to put people under pressure. It's not a small investment. And so I've got conversations going with folks that just want to take a bit more time in their decision. And I am all about that. I'm all about respecting kind of where you are, what makes sense for you right now. Is this a good fit for you in this moment? Does it make sense to think about the amazing results that you're going to get with this brand video by investing in it now versus 6 months from now? Like what's the difference that you're going to see? And I'm actually super excited, Sue, to talk to you 6 months from now and kind of gauge what that ROI has been for you.
Mhm.
I know your brand video is super new in the world, so we're still going to see those results come in. But yes, so April 22nd is doors open officially for the Brand Video Accelerator. And as I mentioned, there are a few perks for joining early, and some folks are already on that. So I'm super excited.
Amazing. What's the website for that? And then we'll also put it in the description and things like that.
That's a good question. I'm working on the sales page right now, and
Okay,
so
cool.
if you wanna start that conversation or just kind of in lieu of hitting a waitlist button, just DM me at Brand Magnetic, and I'll make sure that you get the information that you need, that we have a conversation if that's what is helpful for you. But as soon as that web page is up, I'll get you a link.
Okay, amazing. I think I have two final questions. I just want to ask when it comes to telling their brand story, and I feel like um, the number one thing, kind of like what you mentioned, is like just the confusion of which story is the best story. Um, and that this now goes to my question of like at what stage of their business should they be thinking about
Yeah.
putting out their brand story and their brand video?
So I would say if you are considering doing this as not a brand video, you should start right away. And the reason is that you can be testing which story works, right? Which story resonates. So always be telling a version of, if you're winging this. By the way, I do have a cheat sheet if you want a little bit of help there, and you can grab it at brandmagnetic.com/cheat sheet to have a few guardrails to get you started. But start telling your story right away. Don't overdo it. Don't only talk about it, but mention it and see what people react to, and that will be like beautiful, magical signals to you of what's resonating, what's landing with people, what makes them perk up. But the brand video itself, because it's a little bit more of an investment in terms of the time to create it, the time to do it is when you're very clear on who you're speaking to. If you have that clarity, ideally you've sold an offer before, where at times if you have clarity or you think you have clarity on who you're speaking to but you haven't sold an offer, then that niche might shift a little bit once you decide, oh, I actually want to sell this offer here. I should speak to these people. And so make sure that you know who you're speaking to. And that is when you're the best fit for the program. In, I don't do an application right now, but it isn't the best fit if you're still kind of in that phase of figuring out exactly what you're doing, exactly who you're speaking to. If you don't need to know your audience that deeply, because I push you there, but I push you in the most loving
Mhm.
way. But knowing who it is, and ideally as specifically as possible, is a great starting point. You're ready for a brand video.
Amazing. So good. Okay. So, because this podcast is all about living life well by doing business better, just not sacrificing the things that you love most, how do you feel like you have been able to do that in your own life and in your own business?
Yeah, I think I sleep well at night because I have a brand video that's working for me, not to like tie it back to my own thing
Yeah.
again. But it really, everywhere that I look in my business, I look for ways to not have to do things again, or to do them better next time, more efficiently next time, so that I can have less time working, more time with my family, have a full time business, part time hours, as my mentor likes to say. And so I think for me, what's been really amazing is just finding time to be with God first thing in the morning before things get crazy. I was just reading a scripture about Zephaniah, or in Zephaniah, and the thing that stuck out with me in that scripture that you might have heard about is that God quiets us with his love. And I just was so touched by the idea that God was quieting me with love. Because I think I do have a tendency to be thinking about my business at 3 in the morning, be waking up thinking about my business, going to sleep, checking my emails all the time. And I know that you talk about this in your brand video, which I really resonated with. But that scripture is just something that I've been carrying with me, as just like a new lifestyle choice of being calm and not having any sort of anxiety. And I don't know if I would always call it anxiety. It's just like my brain working a lot. And so having that, going to the gym every morning, eating lots of protein in the morning, those are kind of like three things that oh, and then I would add to that, on Saturdays, I switch off. So come Friday night to Saturday night, nobody reaches me. And when I catch myself thinking about business, I turn off my brain as well. That's a time that's purely family time, purely relaxing time. I don't do any work. And so having that sort of instituted Sabbath, has been a game changer for me. And it's a work in progress too. I'm loving it, hearing about your journey and about your self care, and find that so inspiring. We were just talking about it the other day. So I'm definitely like tuning into your stuff to get better at the self care and the wellness. But those are kind of a few things I've implemented.
Yeah, so good. Thank you so much. I love having you on the podcast. I love talking business, brand video, building trust faster. I think that that's a huge challenge for my clients as well, is like helping collapse that time and trust. And
Mm,
so, if anyone here is interested in just accelerating the path that the customers are coming to you so that you can help them faster and change their lives faster, definitely check out the Brand Video Accelerator. We'll have all of the information, all the links in the descriptions and podcast show notes. And thank you so much for being on the show.
thanks, Sue. Such a pleasure.